And we're live. Rise and grind, my friend. Rise and grind. Yes. I belong to a group, hashtag Rise and Grind is probably, not even probably, it is one of the most amazing groups that I have had the honor to be a part of. And I just learned so much goodness in there. And this mug was just a byproduct of that. So, hey, Connie, how are you this morning? Good morning, good morning. And this is Grandma's on a Mission, Saturday morning, April 3rd, 2021. And I welcome you to have some coffee with me this morning. And I gotta say, are you one of those people too that buy into Botox injections and all these other things? Because I can tell you, I turned 61, a couple weeks ago, a week ago. And I don't even remember if we talked about that. I don't know. I don't think we did. Anyway, I turned 61. Good morning, good morning. I turned 61 on March 30th. And oh my gosh, I want to thank you all so much for the outpouring of love and blessings that you have gifted me on my birthday. It was absolutely amazing. There were just hundreds of you. And I felt like I could have used a virtual assistant that day or an assistant to help me keep up with all the messaging and thanking and everyone and just being so very, very grateful. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for that. That was just I feel very loved. Thank you, thank you. All right, so getting back into it. So we were just talking about Botox, if you're into Botox injections, and I have tried it once, and I did it for my lips. So I didn't want the duck lips though, because that was the thing when Botox first started, and you just had these duck lips. It was just crazy. And anyway, so I used to be a smoker though, and so I had these little smoker lines, and so I thought, why not? I had the money at the time, and I thought, why not? I'm going to try it. And I just went in and had my little lines filled, and I had my cheeks uplifted up here, and it did it. It brings up the skin, right? And we definitely are our own worst, can be our own worst critics, right? And so our company, the company that I'm partnered with, came up with a brand new product, and there has been so many amazing results that I've seen, and I decided to try it. So I love these, like this little bottle right here. Oh my gosh. It's collagen in a bottle. I started it 3 days ago. I have one of my girlfriends and one of the associates in our team. She started it 3 weeks ago, and she's a little bit older than me, and she had showed a picture of her right hand versus her left hand in 3 weeks, and I was amazed at the results. And I said, I gotta try that. So I took a picture of my left hand, and gosh, darn it, this happens every week. I don't know what the deal is. I have one hair that like flies around in my face, and so I decided to get a 30-day supply, so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to try the Botox in a bottle, and also, excuse me, my gosh. It's a good thing we're rotting real up in here, right? Oh my goodness. And anyway, so I am trying that for 30 days and going to post my before and after pictures in 30 days. So here's to rise and grinding on this Saturday. And it's bulletproof coffee. I have to have one every day. I absolutely love it. It's coffee. It's a teaspoon of ghee butter. I know it sounds disgusting, but it really isn't. And half a teaspoon of our vanilla shake. And then, this, I have this, it's a flavor. It's caramel. It's like a caramel flavor. It's called Skinny Girl, and 0 calories and natural flavorings. And I know natural flavor is not always the best either. However, the bottle is biodegradable and all these other great things about it. So I put that in here just to give my coffee a little up flavor. And oh my gosh, it's so delicious. Absolutely love it. All right. So what a week. we had a little guy over here on Monday, the night before my birthday, and we found out that his whole family was exposed to somebody that was positive with COVID, and we're like, what? And sure enough, they all went tested, and this little guy had tested positive. So we've been on self-quarantine, and then like this is like my 4th time, I think, to be on self-quarantine. I'm not about the shot. I really feel like I did have it. I think I shared this with you all before. Back in February of last year, it flew through the place I was working at that time like crazy. And when I went in to get tested, they said influenza A, we think. Like, they didn't even know for sure. So they obviously must have known at that time that there was the strain going around, but they didn't know what to say or what to do. Because it literally like kicked me right away, and I got really, really sick. Like, that was like, and I can get sick from colds and flu, but that like literally wiped me out, and it took me a good month to recoup from that. So I really feel that I've had it. However, though, you know, when you're around people and you know for sure that they are, you'd want to keep yourself safe. I have, again, my mom, she's in a facility, and I want to make sure that she's safe. And I would love to go and see her tomorrow and take her for a walk. It's supposed to be like 76 degrees out tomorrow. She's not been outside that building in a year. I know, a year. That is just so heartbreaking. And she's not the only one. There are lots of other people, you know, all across the country that aren't able to see their loved ones either. So it's been, I want to take her out. It's supposed to be a beautiful, sunny, bright, sunny day tomorrow. And we tested negative. However, we went like early to get the test. We went a little bit early. I think we were supposed to wait 5 days, and we went in 3. So I think that we're supposed to go back and get another test, but you know what? I feel great, and I know that we can be asymptomatic too, but like I said, though, I really feel I had it last February, so I'm pretty certain that everything will be okay. So as I cough, dry, that's all it is. So I definitely want to see my mom tomorrow and take her outside and give her a nice little treat, because she can't walk. She's kind of pretty much bedbound, not only just because of her dementia, but she had broke her hip a while back too. Actually, it's been like a year. Actually, I should have them x-ray that again. And she's been on bed rest, so you would think it'd be healed, but I guess, you know, according to the nurses, though, she can, you know, she'll moan a lot, you know, when they're moving her and stuff. So it's, you know, safe to say that it's probably still cracked. Who knows? I don't know. And then being in self-quarantine and then being here, and here too, we found out that my uncle had passed away. So there's love and healing prayers to my cousins and their family and friends. And now my dad, out of 6 siblings, is the last living relative out of that whole family. So it feels kind of surreal. And my dad will be 80 this month. He'll be 80 in just a couple weeks. I think it's on the 13th, if I remember correctly. And so he definitely is. He just got his first COVID shot, him and my stepmom, a week ago. And their second one isn't until April 20th. So he's like, yeah, I'm not coming to my brother's funeral. And so I'm like, well, if my dad's not going, then I definitely am not going. So, and my Uncle Larry's one of my favorite uncles. We used to go to car shows. Him and my dad would come from Washington. My dad was living in Washington at that time. Now my dad's living in Arizona. But my dad would come in on these long trips, a lot of times even by himself. And there's this little town where my son is buried. And my grandparents, and I have aunts and uncles that are buried in this little cemetery. And little dinky town, little farm community, Canton, South Dakota. And my dad and my uncle would come down there, and there'd be this car show that would bringing people from all over. It literally is like the one time a year that like really, you know, helps save and revive this little town. And so we would have a lot of fun doing that. And then my dad and my uncle loved casinos. They would go to casinos. And the VFW is our favorite place to go. And neither one of them have ever been in the service, which is just ironic to say the least. And that's actually where my uncle passed away, who was visiting his famous VFW last week and was coming, I don't know if he was coming in or out of the bathroom, but that's where he ended up on the floor, and they were unable to revive him, and he passed away at the hospital. And so I wish and pray them all well, and love and hugs to them all. So on another note, my son had just called me right before, this grandma's on a mission, and I'm all about helping people. However, I do live in a house not just by myself. I'm with my daughter, my grandson, and one of his really great longtime friends was blindsided by her husband asking for a divorce yesterday, I guess. And so she's looking for a place. So he asked, and I said, well, you got to ask your sister. And I thought about it though with me, it was like I was really blindsided by my ex asking me for a divorce, and it was right around the Halloween. My husband had left right on Halloween, and 2010, just a few months before my son had passed away, and it was very heartbreaking. Like, it was devastating, and I feel like it was more devastating for when my husband left me than it was when my son was dying, and I couldn't figure that out. And later to learn from a pastor friend of mine that as I'd been grieving throughout the whole entire year, I'd already been in that process with my son. And then when my husband left, it was just added more on top of that. And then there was all this guilt and all this shame, and oh my gosh. And this year was really a challenge for me too, because everything's taken a major pivot again. Major pivot. I spent the whole year learning about digital marketing, really wanted to be in the senior space. I love seniors. I've been around them since I was really basically 9 years old, and I'm in the home healthcare industry. It's what I do for my job. And I thought, yeah, I can do this. And then I had another person who I really put a lot of faith and trust in, who really let me down and just was really kind of not so nice, and it really took the wind out of my sails. And so I had to put the boat in the harbor for a little while and just take a break and breathe and think about things. And now I connected with another mentor out of the group that I was talking about right at the beginning, Rise and Grind. And he actually has the book. Oh, it's over on my other table, and it's the 7-minute setup, and it talks about goals. Not like this is the first person I've ever heard or listened to about goals. I have an excellent, exceptional mentor, Susan Sly. She has a book on goals and all of that greatness as well. However, I wanted to talk to somebody who I knew would be completely biased, who didn't know anything about me except by the interchange of conversations that we've had on Facebook, social media, and I knew that he was somebody. Hey, Natalie, nice to see you. But I knew that I really required somebody who was completely unbiased about anything. And so I called him, and I did the ugly cry literally for like 2 hours, and he listened, and he was amazing. And so he's helping me revamp my life again. And we all grow at different times in different ways, and this is another growth period for me. And it's going to happen to you too. Not bad things. That's not what I'm saying. But if you keep yourself open to change, you definitely will go through these growth periods in your life, and things can really, really change. And so that's happening again. And so you'll be noticing on my social, especially my Grandma's on a Mission page, that I'm updating my bio. I've updated my pin posts. I'm no longer going to work with digital marketing in the senior space. I'm really going to focus on life's trials, tribulations, victories, all those sorts of things. And I'm going to reach a different not really a whole different audience, because I'm a baby boomer. So I definitely clearly, want to speak to the baby boomers, and just, first of all, let them know that, life can change for them too. They don't have to, there's nothing to have to do anything. It's like you get to do whatever you decide you want to do. And that's what I'm doing right now, is I am just learning something new again. So things are changing, but I am a storyteller and I am a great connector, and those are the things that I do best, and I'm going to stick to that. So those are some of the things I learned from Frank Lopes, that is the author of the book, The 7-Minute Setup. And like I said, I'm working directly with him. He's mentoring me right now, and I'm really looking forward to new and greater and better things. So, I mean, really, I've got nothing to lose. I've already lost everything and have regained a lot of things, but I'm still not in the space where I want to be. And this has really, really been very, very helpful. And then, of course, then there's Glenundy, who this week has been doing a series, and it had turned out to be a masterclass, a series on YouTube. So I'm taking advantage of that. I've been doing in copious notes, watching YouTube. That was what I do on Friday nights now. I remember a time when I used to party and drug it up on the weekends, and then it was kids, taking care of my kids, and then it was taking care of my kids and working evenings, and now it's watching videos on Friday nights. You just got to keep bringing in the knowledge, bring in the goodness, bring in the greatness. And last night Glenn was interviewing Bob Berg, who is the author of The Go-Giver. And Susan had recommended this book a long time ago, and I got it, and I haven't read it. And I can promise you, after I listened to this interview last night, I'll be reading this book. It'll be the first thing on my list. And then I'm reading Sharon Lecter's 3 Feet from Gold list. And then, of course, I'm digging deep dive into Frank Lopes. So got 3 things going to be going on right now. It's kind of not multitasking one at a time, but reading all 3 at the same time. And I was really, like, there was such a shift in thinking just listening to Bob Burge last night on even how for sales. Like, we're all in sales at some point or another. Got some people that say, I'm not selling, I'm sharing. And then, the other one are like, you're a seller. And then there's others, like Bob Burge said in the video that, when you can really wrap your heart and your arms around selling and bring it to the perspective that we're really, listening to other people. Like, there's this whole big thing about it. If you want to know anything about it, just let me know. I'll send you the link to the video. And anyway, it's pretty amazing. And hi. And so it was really a great shift in thinking. So just even those little pivots and those little turns can really change the trajectory. I really feel and believe, because I've been through, like I said, a lot. And if the first thing about anything, as we have discussed before, is always just about a decision and a choice. And you definitely are in control of that. And so to go back to, when I thought divorce had literally blindsided me, did it really blindside me? No, I had my part in it too. I definitely know that. It took me a long time to go through and figure all that out. And at that time too, I was spending a lot of time with a really great pastor friend of mine who I didn't even know was a pastor. And he was a retired chaplain from the police force from Alaska. And he was beginning to know me really well, and had shared with me too that when you're losing a child, and this is my child, it was my son's stepdad, that regardless of when you're losing a child, it was like the percentage rate of couples breaking up was like 98%. It's really, really high. And we definitely were a statistic. And because I had spent all my time with my son. He was my focus. Like, he was my life. He was my everything. And at that time, so was my husband. And that's why it was so devastating. But you know what? Not even but. We're getting through it. And it's been 10 years now. And, I've just been taking some really good time this last 4 years to do a lot of self-development, a lot of personal growth. I'm still in the journey. I never want to stop that piece. And at some point, maybe or maybe not, I'll be ready to, meet someone. But right now, I just really don't have time. Like, I love my space. I love that, I don't have to have somebody in my life to define who I am, and you don't either. And so that's where we're at with all that. And then, what day is this? It's Easter weekend. I love Easter weekend, and I miss church. Oh my gosh, Easter's my favorite time to be at church, and Easter's my favorite day to go to church. Is, whatever your beliefs are, mine are, that, it is about, the rising of of Jesus this weekend. My son, they believe in the pagan, and it's interesting how the Easter Bunny comes from that, and that we all share a big piece of, the Easter Bunny and the Easter eggs on that. And so it's really funny how those two really do merge together in a lot of ways. And so I find it really fascinating when I read stories about that and the Easter Bunny. But I'm really looking forward to this cleansing, this huge, big cleansing. And just so you know, the stories are coming. I'll be sharing a huge, big piece of my life, 17 years of my life that I really don't talk about with anybody. I have kept it pretty personal and pretty private. The only ones that know are the ones that know me really, really well. And so we'll begin starting that journey in the next probably week or two. And it's pretty fascinating. At least I find it fascinating. And I think that it might be a shocker to some people. And so I'm just preparing you to be prepared. All right. Okay, everyone. Well, I thank you so much for your time with me. And I just share my stories. That's what I have. And I'll be bringing guests on moving forward too. I already have a few people lined up. I'm learning podcasting as we speak, and bringing on the people for the interviews. Glenundy is going to be one of them that I'll be interviewing coming up in this next 30 days. I have a friend, a really great friend of mine from my previous life that I'm going to be bringing on. I'm going to be interviewing him. And so there's going to be a lot of really, really great people that we'll be discussing and having some great conversation about. And we'll also be talking about something that's dear and dear to my heart too, and that's breast implant illness. And if you're on my page, my personal page, I have the link there that healingbreastimplantillness.org by Nicole. You can definitely go check that out if you're anybody in that space. We were talking about Botox in the beginning. Well, implants is another one of those things that we put in our body thinking that we're safe, and it's not. Became very, very ill. I explanted on January 28th. I'm still very, very happy that I did that. I've been having some major chronic fatigue, though not sure where all that's coming from, so we got to work. I got a little bit more work to do and working on solving that, but we're just going to go with it. And once I'll keep you posted in the journey, and I really appreciate all your support in that too, and for Grandma's on a Mission. So thank you so much, everyone. You have a fantastic rest of your day, and happy Easter. And I look forward to seeing you next Saturday right here at Grandma's on a Mission with Shelly Jean. Thank you. Bye.